Hey, what's going on, you guys? This is Sheila Bila coming to you with another review of Beyond the Gates, episode 19. Now, I know they didn't have episodes 19 and 20 or whatever last week because it was like March Madness. And so a lot of the shows that would normally come on CBS during that time, last week on that Thursday and Friday, they did not air. So that's the reason why the Beyond the Gates didn't show, not because they're canceled or anything like that, but because it was just March Madness for the on that Thursday and that Friday. But they're back up and running, y'all. So we are here and we're going to review our show Beyond the Gates. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe. The more you do like, the more I go through the algorithm, and more people will start to view my commentary. On the road to 7,000 subscribers, y'all. I'm almost there. So if you're watching this, please subscribe to the channel and hit that like button, and we can go ahead and go from there. So today's episode picks up when the chief of police, which is Jacob's dad, he comes over to First Lady Dupree's house, and they're going over a charity event that he wants Anita to host for him because she's been working with the foundation for a while. So they're putting on the charity to raise money and all that stuff. So, I mean, it's a good thing. They're showing Anita being active. They're showing her not just hanging in the background, but being in the forefront of a lot of things. And they also talk about their son Jacob and how he loves to be a detective and all that stuff. But the dad is just letting her know that he loves his job and he is going to do his job, but sometimes he has to know how to navigate it sometimes, and that's cool. Everybody understands that. Now we have Naomi talking to Jacob because, as we know, Naomi has this big case that was brought to her in regards to her father's law firm. And the girls that brought the case to her are expecting her to go against her dad in this lawsuit. And at first she was pretty much on board, but now she's starting to have second thoughts, not knowing if she would want to put her family back into a bad light because they just got over the whole situation with Danny. So this is where her struggle comes in. Does she want to take the case or does she not? And in this, she knows that she wants to seek advice from someone that may know a little bit more than her. Then we'll get to that later. All right, so now you have Doug and Vanessa. Vanessa is always up to her antics, and Doug is too. He looking at his phone and he's getting a message from Randy saying, "Hey, you need to come down here to the casino because it's hot." So, as we all know how Doug does, he makes up an excuse talking about he got to get back to the hospital because they have some new surgical equipment. Vanessa is like, "Do you sure you want to look at this surgical equipment because it may put you out of business?" But he was like, "You know what? I need to do what I need to do." So he walks off, but he ends up leaving his badge. And so when Vanessa sees the badge, she ends up seeing Doug. Doug comes in, he sits at the table, and he's a little flirtatious, and he knows who she is. He knows that she's this big time realtor and all that stuff. So his excuse for sitting down with Vanessa is that his mother is an elderly lady and he's looking for an elderly home to put her in, of her house, not like an elderly home, but a house. He wants a house for her that will accommodate her getting older. And Vanessa is like, "Okay, good, I'll be able to do that," and all that stuff. So he's very flirtatious and all that stuff, and we'll get to that a little bit later. All right, so now back over at the hospital, Eva is there and she runs into Thomas. Well, she sees Thomas and she somehow runs into some equipment at the hospital and she makes this scene. Of course, she was doing it on purpose to get Thomas attention. So he's just like, "Oh, how can I help you?" One thing about Thomas, that man sits straight up. When I tell you his neck is straight, his back is straight, that man should never ever have osteoporosis. The way that he sits straight up in his chair, the way he walks, that man that man walks so straight, he walks like a wall. If you ever saw a wall walk. Anyway, so yeah, he just talking to her. They're very flirtatious, and she keeps bringing up Kat. How is Kat going to feel that you're talking to me? And he's like, "Why do you keep name dropping Kat?" He's like, he says he really doesn't understand the nature of he and Kat's relationship. They're not in a relationship. They're pretty much trying to get to know each other. And Eva is being flirtatious, but she says, well, I have your card, I have your number, whatever. But she says she still doesn't want to step in whatever him and Kat may have. But at the same time, she still has his number. So I'm like, girl, leave that man alone. Leave that man alone. You just doing that stuff to get on Kat nerves. And you know that you could do it because we all know that him and Kat, they not, you know, smoozing around, if you know what I mean. So it's like his window is still open, but at the same time, Eva, just let that be. All right. So now you have this whole conversation, as we've been having this conversation since the first episode of Beyond the Gates. Chelsea and Kat talking about Chelsea trying to get away from her mom. Chelsea knows she's living by Chelsea knows that Danny is living vicariously through her, and she is trying to figure out a way to step out of her mom's shadow to run her own clothing line, purse line, and all of that stuff. They want to be one of the great Black entrepreneur females out there, and they can't do it if Chelsea is living through her mom. But I mean, Kat is saying, well, maybe you could probably do both. You can introduce it to your mom as you're going to do this along with doing that. But Chelsea doesn't know. But her plan is to tell her mom. Will she ever get around to telling her mom? Child, we don't know. All right, so mind you, I told you that child, I'm getting this man. Mind you, I told you that Doug ended up leaving his badge. So when he comes up, he's surprised that Doug is sitting there talking to his wife. Doug plays it off, extends his hand for a handshake. Oh, nice to meet you. Da 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 da. And I'm just like, Doug, please assess your surroundings, because Doug is up to no good. Excuse me. Joey is up to no good, and he looks like he's trying to trap you into something. So you need to be aware of that. Don't get into too much debt because the way that they talk about Joey, that he goes and break folks' legs. Now we need you and your wife to have your legs. So I don't know. You just need to back off of whatever you're trying to do. But he goes ahead and leave. Doug and Vanessa, they still finish their conversation about the whole house building things. Did y'all notice when they shook hands, Doug and Vanessa, they shook hands for at least a minute. Like, I said, can you let her hand go, Doug? Can you let her hand go? And Vanessa, the way that she is, child, Vanessa jump up and down on anybody that got two legs that's going to show her some attention. So, yeah, Doug going to be on the list too. And so while she thinks she's getting rid of Doug, then someone else shows up, and we'll get to that later. All right, so now Naomi goes over to her grand's house, Anita, First Lady Dupree, and they're talking, and Naomi goes on to tell her about the case she's taking on, but she doesn't want to breach the client privilege confidentiality between them. So she says, without saying, that there's a case that comes up at Bill Hamilton's office. Do you think I'll be able to, go against him or whatever? But the grandmother, First Lady Dupree, she holds a mirror up to Naomi and says, look, I know you don't want to go against your family. I know we just got out of some stuff going on with Danny. You are like David and Goliath at this point, because First Lady Dupree says that Bill is pretty much a monster out here in these streets, and he has so many connections that Naomi just don't have. And so Naomi's saying, so you don't think that I should do it? And First Lady Dupree said, you didn't ask me if I thought you could do it. I was just holding a mirror to let you know all the things that you were going to face. But if I think that you can do it, honey, you are Dupree. You can do whatever you want to. I believe that you could go in and you can beat your father. Yes, you can. So it's only if you have the confidence enough to do it. And so that's encouraging to Naomi. And Naomi says, okay, well, if her grandmother feels this way about her, then she feels as if she does have a good chance at beating her father in this lawsuit. All right. So, Kat ends up calling Tomas to come over to have lunch with her. So he comes over there, and of course they are talking, right? And Kat's whole thing is, I'm surprised you haven't ran away. A lot of men mostly runs away when they find out, she's like she is. And she said, I know that I'm a virgin, but at the end of the day, I still want to have some type of intimacy with you. Not on that level, but we can still make out. We can still kiss. And he was saying, well, when I was trying to kiss you on your cheek in front of your mom and them, you had a whole something to say. But she was like, my granddaddy don't play like that. But now that we are alone, I don't mind. You can kiss me. And you can tell when he kissed her, she is really falling for him. She's actually thinking about, you know, having sexual relations with this man without the love, because she feels that there is something there. She just can't put her finger on it. But I'm telling you this, honey, don't expect nothing. Don't bite off more than you can chew, because the way that Thomas is acting, it seems as if he will go with whomever that comes to him, because he was just around the corner flirting with Eva. So I don't know. He may be a cool dude, but just slow up. Don't be such in a rush, because you're getting older. You're starting to get the itch. You ain't got to scratch every itch that you get, if you know what I mean. All right, so now you have this conversation with Jacob and his father. And Jacob brings up the whole Marcel, his partner. And the dad is just like, look, Marcel has been in the game for a long, long time. He has stripes that you don't even have yet. And if he has certain things to say, maybe it's for a good reason. Maybe he's not saying you should just jump into every you should just jump on every case and start shaking down people. Sometimes you have to kind of sit back and assess situations. But Jacob's whole thing is, it didn't look good. He's shaking down. He's getting money from these people out the street. It doesn't look good. And he has a feeling, he has a vibe. And the daddy is telling him, we can't all go with our vibe. Sometimes we have to have hardcore evidence. And he was just telling Jacob, give Marcel a chance. He could probably teach you a few things. All right. So here we are. Diego pops up. Diego said, I know you was, trying to rob the cradle, but now you're going to the grave trying to dig up people that you can have sexual relationships to. Vanessa said, look, don't worry about what I got going on. I got my whole roster over here, and just be glad you still on the list at the end of the day. You on the list. I'm married. I can do whatever I want to do. You just happy you here. That was pretty much what that conversation was about. And Diego thinks that's her. Diego, that's not your woman. Period. All right. So now, Doug is at the hospital. He meets Randy. Randy is really trying to get him to come down, and make this money. It's hot down here at the tables. Come down here and make this money. And when I first saw this, I was like, dang, Randy, you really trying to get this man down to the casino so he can lose his money, because we all know that behind the scenes, Joey was telling Randy, I need him to lose his money because I need to have him in debt. All the while, Randy is slick being a friend to him. I don't know how he's setting this up, but we'll see that in a minute. And this is the minute. So he gets down there to the casino hall and he's winning. Like, he's hot. He's winning. Joey is getting irritated. He's just like, how is he winning? And then Randy is like, that's how the game go. And Joey's whole thing is, if he's winning, then he can't pay me back my money. So I need him to be losing so I can keep him in debt and he can be my puppet and I can do whatever I need to do with him. And Randy is like, well, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But he was just saying, like, he looking at, to me, I see this as Randy is looking out for his friend to get his friend out of debt. So, Doug can keep his legs. Yeah. Oh, also too, one more thing. Doug did bring up the fact to Randy that he didn't like that Joey was down there with his wife. He said he didn't like that. He doesn't understand what does his wife got to do with it. But this man is a shark. So he's just trying to attack everybody that's around you. And that's another reason why you need to stay out of debt, so he doesn't come and try to attack everybody around you. All right? Is that okay, Doug? It's okay. Okay, so now the chief of police, he knows Marcel, and he knows Marcel has been he's been a crooked cop at this point, because he's just like, look, now I set you with my son, but you ain't got to be on him like that. And then, because Marcel is like, oh, your son running around here being privileged, so to speak. And he's saying, like he needs to be taught a lesson almost, not those words, but something to that degree. And the chief is like, look, that's my son. Keep it cute. But at the end of the day, you need to watch what you're doing, because if you are watching this guy and he's accepting this money out in the public like this, you need to be discreet, because we don't need stuff coming back on us, which lets me know that Jacob, your daddy, is not as clean as he portrays to be, and he's in on it with Marcel, because a lot of these people, they be having ties to the police for protection, just to look over things when they getting their hands dirty. So Jacob is right in his suspicion, but at the same time, his daddy and Marcel, they're in on it. So you need to be having your suspicions up about your daddy, as well as Marcel, and as well as Joey. So now back at the casino hall, Joey ends up getting this call from Detective Malone, which is Marcel. And Joey goes back to the back and he's saying like, hey, you need to quit. Marcel is telling Joey, you need to quit taking money like in the open like that. You need to stop doing that, because people are starting to get suspicious. Joey is just like, well, that's what I pay you for. That's it. That's all. You handle that. I'm going to do what I'm going to do, but you need to handle that. I was like, okay, well, ooh, this is starting to get deep. You hear me? All right. So now back over at First Lady Dupree and Naomi. This was a fun moment at the end of the day, and then I was thinking the way that First Lady Dupree was looking at all of her, like her awards and her old pictures, it almost gave me a feel as if it was a place of nostalgia for her. Like she was really trying to get back some of the things that she lost. But First Lady Dupree does remind us that she doesn't regret anything that she's done in her life. She says she is a singer, and she says she still listens to, the girls of these days, Cardi Z and Megan the Mustang, and all that stuff. And she gets up and she gives us a rap about her name is Duprita. Hold on. Her name is Anita, and she here to stay. She rapping on the mic each and every day. You know how she doing or whatever. And it's a cute little tune. She asked Naomi to, catch the beat. Child, Naomi all everywhere. Anita said, girl, stay in the pocket. Stay in the pocket. And that's one thing about anything with the musician. If your musician, because, I kind of do a little bit here and there. And what the main, stay in the pocket. Stay in the pocket. I'd be like, oh, God. But anyway, and I have some spoilers for y'all, because this is pretty much the end of this episode. But I do have some spoilers. Y'all remember Ted? Ted is going to be replaced. He is actually going to be replaced by Keith D. Robinson. And I was just like, oh, okay. And y'all remember Keith D. Robinson. He was the one that was on Step Into the Best Side. He was Dreamgirls. And he played on the other stuff like here and there. He is a good actor. But how do y'all feel about that? How do y'all feel about Keith taking over Ted? Because I really didn't. I thought Ted's acting was, lackluster, but I was getting used to seeing him. And sometimes we get used to seeing people and we kind of like want them to stay because I've gotten used to him. But at the end of the day, it's still early. It's still early with the season, and it's not normal for soap operas to change characters, child, in mid-season, in later seasons, in new season. Child, you thinking that you looking at Doug, the next day they'll say Doug is being replaced by the actor Steve. So, it happens all the time. So, and Keith is a really, really good actor, so I think he could probably add some more zhuzh to the character. So we'll see. What do y'all think about that? How do y'all feel about the replacement? I do feel like they could replace some other people, because that Ashley and that Derek, child, I don't know what it is about them. I don't know if this is some type of nepotism type stuff with those two characters, because they really do nothing for me. Do they do something for y'all? They do nothing for me. It's maybe they need to change the storyline, because that storyline is, it gives me the ick. But anyway, just a little spoiler for y'all about Beyond the Gates. We are back, and I will be reviewing. I'm going to try to review every day when the episode comes out. But anyway, y'all, this is Sheila. Be like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what y'all think. Bye.